Good morning and welcome to Paul T's World on this absolutely gorgeous December day. Normally our first frost here on the coast in northwest England, zone 9A, is between the 5th and the 15th of December. And this year it started yesterday, the 7th of December. We had an overnight frost, and today another frost. And it's so gorgeous out here at the moment that I thought I'd do a video to show you. So let's see what's happening in December in my English garden. The azalea and hydrangea bed that I started last year is still looking nice. We've got the paniculata hydrangeas here. I've got about 6 different types here. The antirrhinum now are starting to go over in the frost, but they're still just about hanging on. This is one of the replacement evergreen azaleas I put in just a couple of months ago. Oh, that gorgeous snapdragon, self-seeded from another part of the garden, and I've seen little seedlings around, so next year is going to be great. The lovely frost on this variegated azalea. Bought that one just a few months ago. Pink diamond, I think this one is, this paniculata hydrangea. And just behind, here is the oak leaf. Oh, it just looks pretty, doesn't it? A coleus here has given up. Can't wait for next spring. Oh, and this one's got a tinge of red on the leaves. More azaleas, and the last azalea in the row is this one. So there's the row of paniculata hydrangeas. Here's 2 big ones, Goliath. Robin's come to join me. You want a little treat, don't you? And I'd better go and get one as soon as I finish this video. If you'll remember from a couple of years ago, this bed, this hydrangea bed, did in fact have a large choicea and a large California lilac. The California lilac actually died. They're rather short-lived, but this one didn't last quite as long as I thought. So I dug up the California lilac and the choicea and decided to put in these hydrangeas. Now I've just noticed here that in digging up the choicea, they're very tough. Look at this. So here was the choicea. And here we've got one bit of it that I missed. They do send up little runners everywhere. So if you want a spare choicea, have a look round the base and see if you've got any runners. Let's make our way up the path and see how the new cuttings are getting on. These are the 2 lace cap hydrangeas that I did cuttings of last year. After I did the cuttings, they started to flower, and that's why they're late in flowering. They're looking frosted, but they will be absolutely fine. This is the variegated Weigela. I cut it right back because I want it to stay clear of the garage. I don't want it marking the paintwork on the garage. And when I cut it back in the summer, it actually flowered again. The Cotoneaster horizontalis goes a lovely reddish colour. And there are all the berries. They will all be eaten by the birds later on in the winter. And next to it, we've got the Pyrrhus. And the Pyrrhus is already forming the bells, the beautiful white bells for next spring. And the ground still has frost on it during the day. This didn't happen at all last year. Here are the penstemons, those new plug plants that I put in 2 years ago now. And these are the old ones. In the spring, I will cut these penstemons right back to the ground. And they'll grow and flower all in the same spring and summer. The white big leaf hydrangea, looking gorgeous. Some of the late blooms are still hanging on white, and they haven't turned to pink yet. Now let's just have a look down this border. I call this the long border because it runs the whole of the length of my front garden. From the penstemons right down to the rhododendron. Viburnum starting to set up its flowers for the winter. Another mophead hydrangea. I leave these spent blooms on the mophead all winter. It just looks nice, and also maybe it protects a little bit from the frost. And then in the early spring, I will simply deadhead the hydrangea and also prune it back a little bit to a good strong bud. Another azalea bed here. These are the evergreen azaleas, and just behind here are the absolutely gorgeous deciduous azaleas. This one, oh, and there's a second one there with a vivid oranges and yellows. A little rhododendron there. Oh, and here is the Loropetalum that I transplanted 2 months ago. Looking lovely, and it's put on new growth. So it will have set up its roots ready for the winter. Pittosporum has sent up lots of new growth. It's quite established now. The contorted hazel is always interesting right the way through the year. Of course, it will lose its leaves. Do you remember the eucalyptus? The one that was about 35 feet high, and I decided to cut it back to about 5 feet high. Let's see what it looks like now. It's a gunny eye. Pretty one. It's sent up a lot of sprouts from the base right the way up. Gorgeous. So now I can cut this back as I like, and it's forming a thicker, sort of bush-like tree, which is what I wanted. And this is the second of my oak leaf hydrangeas, only the second year I've had them. Let's see what's happening now in the back garden. The pond froze over last night. Let's see how thick the ice is. Wow, now that is thick. So let's see how some of these plants have fared. The little London Pride, absolutely happy with this weather. The little dwarf cannas, slightly less so. It's going to be interesting to see how this pink passion cordyline fares in the winter, as it's half hardy. The fan palm should be fine. Beautiful. Moonfire dahlia, I haven't cut it back. I've cut the others back, but I thought I would leave this for a little bit longer. I'm going to leave this Brugmansia in the ground. Now, I don't know whether it'll survive or not, but I've taken cuttings so we can see. I do like to experiment with my plants and my winters. It's grown really well, this Brugmansia, this year, although it was attacked by the insects. And here we have that large canna. The elephant ears has been knocked back overnight. I put some mulch on and I'm leaving it out over the winter. It's called pink china and it's fairly hardy. They say it's hardy, pink china, colocasia, and I will see how hardy it is. But this frost last night and the one before are more severe than all three of the frosts I had last year. It was so mild last year, but we've started off this winter with a bit of a bang. The mellifera, Euphorbia mellifera, Musa Baju banana. Yep, I don't think it'll be unrolling that leaf. It's been glorious this year. It's got its pups. It's my first winter with a Musa Baju, and I'm expecting it to die right back. When I say die, I mean just the vegetation. It should be root hardy. These plants should die back to the ground and then grow again from the roots next year. I've specifically chosen tropical plants that are hardy in our winters. And here we've got the Tetrapanax. It will lose its leaves. I've mulched it up with my own compost. It's a fairly young one, so it hasn't got much of a trunk. So it might not be as hardy as the older ones. Fatsia japonica, spider's web. Oh, and through here, we've got the Persicaria. Let's just go round to the Persicaria. There we are, red dragon, still flowering. So I planted it this year. I bought it from a little cutting in May. Here is my third oak leaf hydrangea. As all these plants are new to me, it's so interesting to see what will happen, to find out how to prune them, how well they'll grow, how they do in the winter. The Salvia amistad has been knocked back by the frost. Give the video a like if you enjoyed seeing my garden after the second night of frost down to about, I would say, -2. It might have even been -3 in the second week of December, Zone 9A. And I'll see you next time in Paul T's World. Bye.